What's up, YouTube, Dailymotion, Facebook, and Tumblr? My name is Midnight Strike 3625, and today we're going to take a look at another ACDC album to continue on with my discography review that I started about 2 months ago. This is my review of For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, which is the album that superseded Back in Black from 1980, and this one dropped just 1 year later in 1981. Now, yes, it does have a lot of fraying on it. This is one of my more beaten up cases because it's gotten a lot of playing time, and this is one of my favorite AC/DC albums of all time, if not second only to Powerage. But then again, I will get more into that. This is my favorite AC/DC album of the Brian Johnson era. It basically takes everything that Back in Black did so well and accomplished and streamlines it into a heavier, edgier, and grittier, kind of more raw appeal for the listeners. It's not necessarily a radio-friendly album like Back in Black was, but it's definitely a heavier one, with some songs almost having a metal sound to them. Now, this isn't exactly heavy metal in its fullest appeal, mind you, but it's definitely up there as one of the heavier hard rock albums. It's very edgy, very gritty, and just AC/DC raw, basically, which is what a trend that will continue on into Flick of the Switch and Fly on the Wall. But I will get into those when I review those albums individually, but for now, let's focus on For Those About to Rock. The song structures themselves, with the exception of the title track, are very straightforward, very gritty, kind of streamlined a little bit, and simplistic, but then again, as I have said in the past, AC/DC are the masters of simplicity without making it sound too boring or too repetitive. So this album has 10 tracks on it, and I like every last one of them with the exception of one, track number 8, Breaking the Rules. Now, I like the intro on this song, but the guitar melodies in the verse structure is just really weird, and it just doesn't sound right. Now, the singing and the vocals themselves are very good. The lyrics are pretty decent, especially for, AC/DC getting up there in their 30s and, early 40s and such. But when it comes down to it, the latter half of the AC/DC catalog doesn't exactly have the greatest lyrics. So, Bon Scott was a lyrical genius. Brian Johnson's pretty decent too. But ever since then, ever since about 1990 or so, or 1988, I want to say, Angus Young and Malcolm Young, the Young brothers, have been handling all the lyrics, which is, in my opinion, their biggest mistakes, or one of their biggest mistakes. So, basically on this album, I Put the Finger on You, Snowballed, Evil Walks, and For Those About to Rock have the best lyrics on this entire album. Now, For Those About to Rock is probably my favorite lyrically and structure-wise. This is one of my favorite songs. I mean, I used to consider this song better than Master of Puppets, and I would defend it to the death. Now, I don't necessarily think that right now, but it is very high up there on the chart of music for me. So I do like this album. I do hold it near and dear to my heart, and while I don't necessarily think that Brian Johnson has a better voice on this album, he can definitely sing a lot higher. He has a higher regiment, higher register, and he can reach that high vocal pitch a lot more than he could on Back in Black, or at least he sings a lot higher. While I may like the vocals on Back in Black better, but it is what it is. I do like the raw kind of grit that it adds, and just the kind of flavor that it adds to a lot of the songs on this album, especially with the more metallic or just metal kind of production to it. It is one of their heaviest albums to date. It is their heaviest album, now that I think about it, with the exception of maybe Back in Black, but then again, this is definitely not as radio-friendly. So, when it comes down to why I like this album the best out of Brian Johnson's catalog, it's gotta be with the vocals combined with the heavy production, as I said before. It just kind of sets the tone, sets the mood for a more metal approach to an album, while still retaining the simplicity of AC/DC's prior works. So, it's a very decent album, very good. I'd probably rate it a 9.7 out of 10, and I am going to go into why. So, track number 1, the album kicks off with For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. It's got some really awesome atmospheric cannons in it, and a really great structure, awesome, amazing lyrics, and it's just got a really great tone just overall. It really knows how to set the mood for a more dark and sophisticated AC/DC album. That is until I Put the Finger on You, which is track number 2, and I like this song a lot. It's about sex, obviously, or, the act of. So, it's a very good song. really clever lyrics, and it's got a really interesting chorus too, just where the Young Brothers and Brian Johnson sing it together, as well as the intro is really interesting as well. It's just got a really kind of cool sounding guitar part and just really awesome structure to it overall. The next song, Let's Get It Up, it's a little bit slower, but I do like it. It's a little bit of a throwback to the early years with Bon Scott, where it sounds a little bit more bluesy, so I do like that they threw something like that in there. It's still as heavy as everything else on the album, yet it kind of retains a little bit of the blues found in, say, you know, Powerage, Highway to Hell, and such albums like that. Such amazing, memorable classics. So the next song is Inject the Venom, and this is definitely where AC/DC gets a little bit of heaviness factor thrown in there as well. It's a very good song. I really like the intro, how they just kind of take their time and just kind of builds up to an explosion more towards the beginning half of the song where they kind of get into it. It's a little bit slower, but it kind of works its way up, and it's very heavy. The next song is Snowballed. I like this one. It's a little bit faster than a lot of what's on this album. The vocals are good, the lyrics are decent, and I just like the song structure overall. Evil Walks is one of my favorites because it's very dark. It's one of the darkest songs on the entire album, and it's got really good lyrics and a really good lead guitar by Angus and Malcolm Young. Malcolm Young, of course, being the rhythm section, but Angus kind of coming in there with his second guitar bit. It sounds amazing, especially when done in the proper way, especially, you know, since it's a little bit of a slower song. I really wish they would have done this live, or if they did, someone email me a video of it because I want to see it. The next song is Call of the Devil, or COD as they said, and not that COD, you gamer freaks. Call of the Devil is an amazing song. It's got a little bit of contrived, you know, it's contrived lyrically. Doesn't exactly have the greatest lyrics to it, but it is a very good song. It's got a really kick-ass melody, really awesome kind of gritty vocals from Brian Johnson. Isn't exactly the highest point for Brian Johnson's voice when it comes to his range, but he does it very well for what he can do. And the next song, of course, Breaking the Rules, kind of a disjointed mixed bag for me. I mean, I like the singing, I like the vocals, I like the lyrics, I even like the intro, but I just don't like the verse structure, and I don't like the guitars in the verse, so it's just really a mixed bag. I don't really like it that much. Probably my least favorite on the album. Night of the Long Knives is pretty awesome, and I don't know, some people say that Motley Crue from Dr. Feelgood ripped this off, but I don't see it. It's completely different. I mean, yes, I see a lot of similarities, but it's definitely not a complete and utter ripoff. So, it's got some pretty interesting lyrics as well, and Spellbound, the last song on the album. I used to not like this song that much, but now that I have actually listened to it, and, you know, I've come to appreciate the slower, more progressive side of heavy metal and hard rock, I have come to appreciate this song for what it is. It is a slow, dark outro for those about to rock, we salute you, as an album, and it's the perfect closer with its structure that just continuously builds up tension and is very dark and very progressive for what AC/DC is used to. Everything from the vocals to the structure to just the general guitar riffs are amazing on this song. So, great closer, and like I said before in the beginning, before the track by track, I would give this album a solid 9.7 out of 10. This is my favorite Brian Johnson era album, and definitely a turning point for the band's career. So, until next time, this is Midnight Strike 3625. As always, keep calm and rock on.